I would also like to briefly talk about the comparative advantages that these small outfits, these small community-based or community-funded organizations have over the big multinational organizations or the bigger humanitarian agencies. I would like to also give an example of Empowering Hands. That's what I'm very fond of for the last 1 or 2 years, because that's where I work. Look at Empowering Hands. It's an organization that was founded by victims. Having been founded by victims, the very DNA, I would say, of the organization is very, very informed of the problem that must be addressed, because they are people who are testimonies of the problem itself, who form the organization. And so their view of what should be done is very, very original, and is very, very much beneficiary driven, if I must say. Of course, right now they are not beneficiaries anymore because they've gone beyond that. But they understand, what we say in the humanitarian industry so much, that you need to have empathy. They can empathize the situation more than any other person can do. Now, that is one of the first wonders I would like to talk about that has to do with the locally found organizations. It may be that other organizations are not actually so much from the conflict like Empowering Hands is, but even just having the fact that they are people locally from here makes them translate the understanding of the conflict much better than any organization that is only that is only coming to face a situation, because most of them will have lived in the situation. The second issue that I would like to talk about is that apart from having a very good knowledge of the situation of who the beneficiaries are, these organizations are very, very much in total contact with the beneficiaries on a daily basis. I have 30 women within Empowering Hands Uganda, for example, who every week go to the field to meet these beneficiaries two times every week, to meet these women. There's a very big difference in what they are understanding, in how much they are abreast with the true conditions that are with the victims, compared to that of another person who is too busy to get there, of course, for a good cause, but that would weigh against the person who sits too much in the office. Yeah, so this gives these organizations an edge over bigger organizations. Number two, there's a high level of flexibility in smaller organizations. When you look at it, at Empowering Hands, we can mobilize response to a situation within 24 hours. Within 24 hours. Because first of all, the decision makers are not having their power to make decisions constrained by their absence from the front of the problem. They're actually at the front of the problem themselves. So sometime before I even, as a programs coordinator, summon their interest to make a decision, to change a few things to suit the situation, they've actually seen it themselves. They've already come to me and asked, coordinator, what do we do here? And for me, that is a beautiful thing. Meanwhile, for bigger organizations, many times, you need to wait for board members who are traveling throughout the world to sit in a year's time and stuff. And by the time you actually come up with a position to respond, the situation has changed 5-6 folds again. So that's another advantage that I see that these local organizations have. Now, they're also, like I said, responsive to situations, because they're in touch with situations, because decision making is not very difficult for them. They can mobilize all the members fast, and the members who make decisions are in contact with the situation themselves. There is a power for them to remain relevant. There's a very, very big power for them to remain relevant, because maybe tomorrow, yesterday we were actually responding to a water crisis, but just overnight a sanitation-based problem breaks out, because they see it, because they don't take a lot of time to sit down, because they are like the victims themselves. Many times they are faster to make these decisions, to respond flexibly and remain relevant to the situation. And when you look at all these advantages that I said that smaller community-based organizations has, and you look at northern Uganda especially, we're in a transition process. And I find I do not want to underrate the relevance and the need and the power that bigger organizations have in supporting this process. But as we move from violent conflicts to recovery, slowly into development, these smaller organizations have the capacity to flexibly turn from an emergency design of project to a recovery design of project. And that, like I said before, keeps them very relevant to the new organizations. Secondly, I work for Empowering Hands Uganda. I come up with an idea tonight. Tomorrow I am on the phone speaking to the chairperson of the board, and it's easier to inject that decision within the operations of the organization. Many times I think bigger organizations face the constraint of procedures that are too big and often too slow to catch up with what the problem is. I mean, very good, willing citizens of the world work with these organizations, and they have conscience to make the right decisions every time, but their hands are also tied. And these are disadvantages that exist with these bigger organizations compared to the local organizations. Then the final thing that I would like to say here is that you have a big organization and a small organization side by side. The smaller organization have an advantage of first of all having its philosophy of formation based on the particular problem that even the bigger organizations has come to address. I mean, right from the beginning of the DNA of these local organizations, it was designed to address, for example, look at Empowering Hands. It was designed to address the effects of this war. Meanwhile, another big, probably multinational organization will have a lot of issues to attend to, and many of them need to be constrained from what they naturally are to actually attend to local situations here. In these local organizations, most of these issues are inherent. It's in the formation. It is streamlined in its life. And that makes it easier and natural to achieve results out of this. Thank you.